struggle again with our eating? One of the biggest reasons, and such a theme that runs throughout everything I do, is about our awareness and our awareness level. And our world makes it really hard to stay present in the moment and be aware. You know, oftentimes we're texting and eating at the same time, or we're doing 100 different things at the same time, and we kind of zone out, or we're not as present as we could be. You know, with your kids, or your kids are playing and you're texting over here. It's very tough to be completely present with all the technology that we have in our world and everything that we have going on, all the things that we have in our mind. And these kind of things kind of detach us from our emotions, from our awareness, from our presence in the world. And it causes us to act on autopilot. So I love this picture because I stole this actually off of Facebook. I don't know if you can see it, but this woman is waiting in line, and she waited there for 5 minutes. Just waiting. It's actually mannequins. She had no idea. She was so on autopilot and zoned out that she was just standing there, just kind of hanging out and waiting. And we do that a lot in our life. We just go through our routines, and when we're actually present, we start to make a lot of mistakes. A lot of people will ask me about, well, how did I come to know mindfulness, mindful eating, incorporate this notion of awareness into my life? And I take them back to a particular story, and I talk about it more in my book, EQ, but it was a really important one for me in terms of awareness and self-awareness. And so, to tell you the story just kind of briefly, I was a college student, and I was studying in Japan, and while I was there, my host family took me to all different kinds of sites around Japan. And one of the places they took me was Kyoto. And you probably recognize this picture right here. It's the Zen garden. Sometimes people have like little replicas that are sitting on a desk. You've probably seen it before. It's in movies and things like that. So we're sitting there, and I'm not actually in this row right here, but imagine me, back then with big hair. So I'm over here. I'm just sitting, and I'm looking through my guidebook, and I'm thinking about, okay, well, where are we going to go next, and what are we going to do, and thinking about all these different things. And all of a sudden, I have a tap on my shoulder. And I look over, and I see sitting next to me a monk. Hadn't noticed him at all, was sitting there. And he says something to me in Japanese. And I have no idea what he said. I look back, completely blank, and he knows very quickly that I don't know what he says, that I don't know any Japanese. And he says 2 words to me that have changed my life, that I think about all the time to this very day, and it just even gives me chills thinking about it, because it was so powerful. And it was only 2 words. He said, "Be here. Be here." And instantly, I knew exactly what he meant. Because my mind was here. I was in this unbelievably beautiful location that was by far one of the most significant places of meditation and historical sites in Japan, and my mind was here. I wasn't looking at all at what was going on out here, and how often that we do that. So I shut my book, and I sat there, and I took it in. And I must have sat there for an hour, but I felt that shift in my awareness to really being there and being present, and I could feel it. And to this day, I think about that, if I'm sitting in a meeting and all of a sudden my mind starts to drift, I think about that monk tapping on my shoulder and saying, be here, be present. And I think about that particularly at the table, that we can be sitting at a table and be there but not really be there at the same time, that we can be eating an entire plate of food and not taste one single bite because our minds are elsewhere. We're present eating, our body's moving, but our mind is somewhere else. And I would encourage you to be here. Whenever you eat, just be there, because it will really connect you with the experience in the way that when I did look up and I did look around, I experienced it in a completely different way, took it in. Okay, so that notion of awareness stuck with me. I was in Japan, fast forward, in graduate school, did some work at a university of Colorado, and was involved with some groups on eating. And this notion stuck in my mind about mindful eating and awareness. And I started incorporating it into my philosophy. And there's such a range of awareness. On one hand, we can be sitting on the couch, popping food in our mouths, completely zoned out. You get to the bottom of the bowl and you say, I have no idea how I got to buying the bowl. I didn't really taste it, I didn't really experience, and that's when you go for more, when you don't really get the pleasure out of it. And you're just, sometimes my clients call it like zombie eating. You're just kind of mindlessly zoned out. On the other hand, we can be super hyper vigilant and aware of every single bite and like obsessive about it, and that's no fun either because our mind is on the numbers and we're not enjoying the experience at all. And my philosophy is more in the middle, noticing, being aware, being present when you eat. And it's not easy to be in that middle place. And we do this not just when we eat, but in all different contexts of our lives. So let's imagine you go home tonight, you're reading through a book, and all of a sudden, you have kind of that wake-up experience where you have no idea what you've been reading for the past 3 pages, and you go, where was my mind? Because your hand was moving the pages and your eyes were moving, but you tend to just, you zoned out, and you think, okay, where was my mind in the last 5 minutes? And you're thinking about dinner or whatever it may be, and then you become present again, and then you start over again. But again, very much like the way that we eat, we could be sitting, picking up our fork and eating, but our mind be somewhere else at the same time.